Good afternoon and welcome everybody. My name is Jordan and I'll be hosting today's webinar. So at this point, everyone should be able to see my screen. I know many of you might be new to our program, so I just wanted to start by taking a moment to explain what Toolkit is all about. Our program is designed to help you build attractive and effective flyers and presentations, both for buyers and sellers. We also have interactive tablet presentations that are available to complement your printed presentations. I've also attached a complimentary brochure that touts the benefits of our industry-leading program, so feel free to download that or print it out at your leisure. Toolkit can integrate with CRMs, and if your MLS is powered by Clarity, a Toolkit CMA shortcut can be added to your agent dashboard. If you're interested in these types of integrations, then you or your admin should contact our support department. So for today, we'll take a look at what Toolkit has to offer, and then we'll go over how to navigate the program. We'll start by looking at a sample of our standard listing presentation for Berkshire Hathaway Commonwealth Real Estate. Each presentation will begin with the cover page, and we do have multiple different cover page options for you to choose from. Then the presentation will advance to your customizable cover letter, and then to some marketing material pages. These are the default marketing pages provided by the company. However, additional marketing pages can be added by agents individually from their preferences section, and also by the company admin company-wide using our presentation manager option. You'll have the ability to change the order of these documents and the option of choosing which of these pages you would like to include in your presentation. So we'll continue to scroll through the available marketing pages. And then eventually we'll come to the CMA portion of the presentation. And that will start off here with the subject property page. There's two different options for the subject property. This page will contain the information without a photo, whereas this version will contain the photo. After that will come your summary page, which will list all of the comps that you've included sorted by property status. After the summary page will come your map of comparable properties. You should have two different options for the map. This one will show the properties in a city view, while the other will show the map in a satellite view. After the maps, we'll then have your comparable pages. Again, there's multiple different options to choose from to suit your preferences here. This one here is titled the Picture CMA, and this will list 3 properties per page listed horizontally. Then there's also the single comparable with a city map. There's a single comparable with both an aerial view and a city map. And we also have a page that includes the interior photos where supported by your MLS. After the comp pages will then come your columnar CMA page options. You'll have 2 to choose from. This one will compare every single data point of just the comps. So each page will include 5 comps in the chart. Whereas this version will compare every single data point of the subject property to the comps. So each page will include the subject property in the first column, followed by 4 comps. After that, you'll have your price adjusted CMA page, and this page will allow you to make monetary adjustments to your sold comps. After that will come your property graphs, and again you'll have 2 to choose from. Both pages will graph the properties according to status, but one will graph the properties horizontally, while this one will graph them vertically, as well as include summary statistics for each property status at the bottom. Then will come your recommended price range page, And then the pricing strategy page, which is another page where you can include a price range. And this page is customizable and allows you to go into a little bit more detail about how you came up with your price range. Following that, there's a few more marketing pages, including extra pages talking about pricing and a preparing your home checklist. There's also the estimated net proceeds worksheet. And then following that is the Who We Are section. And this includes pages on how both Berkshire Hathaway as a company and you as an agent can help the seller through the selling process. This section also includes your resume, references, and review pages. If you do have reviews on Zillow, Real Satisfied, Reach 150, Testimonial Tree, Rated Agent, or Delta, then you'll be able to pull your most recent reviews from those sites into Toolkit automatically. Following that, your thank you and ending conclusion page will round out every presentation. Now, when you first log into your Toolkit account, you'll be directed here to the home screen. On the left-hand side, you'll have sections for your recent saves and your recent shares. We'll talk about those a little bit later on in the webinar. On the right-hand side, you have options to create a new presentation or to create a new property flyer. And at the top, there's a few function buttons as well. There's the Go-To menu, which again, we'll talk about a little bit later in the webinar. There's also the Support tab. And if we click on that, we have various options for customer support. There's our online live support chat feature, as well as our 800 number, and an option to view samples or run a demo account. And if we click on the help option, we'll then have a few more options for help here, including the startup guide, which contains useful instructions for new users. There's also the online help link, which takes you to a list of our most frequently asked questions. You can also request a one-on-one phone walkthrough of the program by clicking on the personal walkthrough link. Here you can then enter in your information along with your 2 best dates and times, and an agent will contact you by the next business day to schedule the personal walkthrough. And then there's also the Contact Us section, which includes our 800 number again, along with our schedule. We are available Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you click on the Contact Us link, then you can also send us an email. Again, you would enter in your information along with a question or comment, and an agent will contact you by the next business day to answer your question. The last option here on the home screen is your profile in the very top right corner. If you click on that, you can adjust your various settings and preferences on your account. And again, we'll go over all of these options later on towards the end of the webinar. Now, before we begin building a presentation, I also wanted to take a moment to go over what the interactive tablet presentation that Toolkit creates will look like. So here's a sample version of a tablet presentation. We're viewing it on a desktop, but this is what it would look like on your tablet screen. We'll place the company's logo at the bottom right and your contact information there at the bottom left. Now, by default, the tablet presentation does not include any marketing pages. It's just the CMA portion. However, marketing slides can be added into the tablet presentation by the company admin using Presentation Manager, and also by agents individually from their preferences section. At the top left of the slide, there is a navigation menu, which you can use to jump between any slides that you've set as a bookmark. And you can also navigate using the left and right arrows or if you're on a tablet, you can also click and drag the screen. So every presentation begins here on the cover page, and if we advance to the right, will take us to the map of comparable properties. Here the map will be listed on the left, and the list of properties will be on the right. All of the different colored flags on the map do correspond to a different property status. Our maps are powered by Google Maps, so you can view the map in multiple different modes. You can also zoom in on the map, and you can even view a street view of the map by dragging and dropping the yellow person icon to where you would like it on the map. Google Street View will then provide you with a 360-degree view of that surrounding area. If we go advance again to the right, we'll then be taken to our summary slide. And again, this will list all of our comps sorted by property status. If we go right again, we'll then be taken to our individual property slides. And you'll notice that now we have a down arrow. If we click on that, it will take us to thumbnail images of the property. You can also click on any of the thumbnails to view a larger image. Going down again will take us to the full listing details for the property. And then down one more time will take us to maps of the property. After the individual slides will then come the columnar CMA slide. And again, this slide will compare every single data point of the subject property to each of the comps. After that will come your recommended price range slide. And this slide will graph the properties according to status. And you can then adjust the recommended price range by using the blue scroll bar at the bottom. After that, your resume, references, and conclusion slide will round out the tablet presentation. So for anyone that might be joining us late, I did just want to remind everybody that I have attached a brochure that touts the benefits of Toolkit, so feel free to download that or print it out at your leisure. So now that we've gone over what the finished products of Toolkit look like, now we'll go ahead and go over where you'll be spending a bulk of your time within the program, and that's building the presentations. So from the home screen, we'll get started by clicking Create a Presentation. And then a window will pop up that says Select Presentation. And in the drop-down menu, we'll have a list of all the different presentation types that are available to create. The listing presentation includes your company's marketing material pages along with a CMA. The pre-listing presentation is just the marketing material. And then the CMA only presentation is obviously just the CMA portion. We also have presentation types designed for buyers. The buyer presentation is just marketing material. The buyer presentation with CMA is both marketing material along with comps. And then the buyer's tour is just the comps. There's also the luxury collection presentation, which is similar to the regular listing presentation, but with a more refined look and feel to it for a luxury presentation. So for today's webinar, we'll go ahead and select the regular listing presentation, and then we'll go ahead and click Create New Presentation to get started. We'll then be taken to a list of all of the available documents to choose from for your presentation. You can click on the title of any of the documents, and an image sample will appear underneath showing you what that page will look like. So that can help you decide which pages you'd like to include in your presentation. You can click on the page title again to collapse the sample. A lot of these pages are the canned marketing pages provided by the company. And towards the bottom are the different CMA pages that you can choose from as well. Now, once you've selected which pages you'd like to include in your presentation, You can then click the Set as Default button, and that will set that list as your new default list for all of your future presentations. There's also a box at the very top of the documents, which you can use as a shortcut to either check all pages, uncheck all pages, or go back to the default checklist. So once you've selected the pages you'd like to include, we'll go ahead and click Next. And then we'll be prompted for our prospect information. So you can go ahead and fill in the information and then click Next again. Then we'll be taken to the customizable cover letter. There is a default letter that's provided. However, you can make any changes to this letter. Or if you have your own cover letter, you can simply copy and paste it into the box and set it as your default. When you're done, click Next. And we'll come to the Select MLS screen. Now, before we continue on, I just wanted to take a moment to look at the Go To button at the top. This menu can be used to jump between any of the previous screens that you've been to. So if you ever need to navigate back to a previous screen, simply click on the Go To menu and click the screen that you'd like to go to. For example, maybe I needed to make an adjustment to the prospect information. So I can click on the prospect screen, make my adjustment, and then just click Next until I get back to where I was in the presentation. So we left off here at the Select MLS screen, and this is where we'll be pulling in the listings to use in the CMA portion of the presentation. You'll start by selecting your MLS. You'll notice that some boards have what's called an enhanced download. The enhanced download means that the search is completely integrated within the Toolkit program. So you'll actually be completing your search from within Toolkit, and the listings will automatically be imported for you. Now, if you choose the regular download, the process is a little bit different. So we'll go ahead and look at that. Maybe we'll choose the MLS PIN, and then we'll choose our property type. And then we'll be taken to the Get MLS Property data screen. So with the non-enhanced download version, we'll actually be signing into the MLS to search for our comps. And then we'll be downloading a file with the listing data and then uploading that file into Toolkit in order to pull in the information. And the instructions for the download process can be found in this link to the MLS download guide. So it might be useful to maybe print out a copy of this guide until you're comfortable with the search process. Once you've downloaded your file according to the guide, then back in Toolkit, you'll click the Browse or Choose File button, find the file that you downloaded, and then click Upload File, and your listings will be imported into the program. Now, because the process is different for every single MLS, we won't be able to demonstrate all the different boards in this webinar. But if you do need assistance with this part, feel free to call our support department, and we'd be happy to help you specifically for your MLS. So for the purposes of the webinar, I'm going to go ahead and load a few demo listings so that we can create a demo presentation. So when the system is finished loading the properties, you'll be directed to the Select Property screen. This will have a one-line overview of all of the properties that you imported. You can view more information about any particular property by clicking on the photo on the right-hand side. That will open up a full details view of the property. And you can then click on the photo again to collapse that view. So here you'll want to check off any properties that you want to include in your CMA as a comp. The system will view anything that's checked off as a comp and will ignore anything that's not checked off. So once you've selected your properties, you can click Next. And then we'll be taken to select fields for Summary CMA if you included the Summary CMA page. Now, you'll already have the columnar CMA, which compares every single data point of the subject property to the comps. So this page is meant to be just a one-line summary of only the comps, and will only display the fields that are in the selected fields box on the right-hand side here. You can move fields between the available fields and selected fields using the right and left arrows. You can also rearrange the order of the fields in selected fields using the up and down buttons. Now, because each comp is displayed on a single line on this page, the number of fields that you can include is limited and will also determine whether the page prints in a portrait or a landscape orientation. You can see at the bottom there's a line that tells you which orientation the page is currently printing in. But if I were to, for example, add in more fields, then the page might shift to a landscape orientation to fit these fields on a single line. Once you're done selecting the fields, if you then wanted to use those same fields for all of your summary CMA pages in the future, then you can save it as a default. When you're done, click Next, and then we'll reach the subject property page. Now, if you had imported your subject property along with your comps previously, then there will be a line at the top that says Use a downloaded property as the subject, optional. And if you click on the drop-down menu, you'll then see a list of all of the properties that you had imported but did not check off on the Select Property screen. So here you can then select the address for your subject property, and all of the information will be automatically imported from the MLS. However, if your property was not listed in the MLS previously, then you'll need to manually fill out all of these fields, as well as upload a photo of the subject property from your computer. When you're done here, click Next. And if you included the price adjusted CMA page, then that will be the next screen that we come to. This is where you can make monetary adjustments to your sold comps if needed. You can change any of the description fields on the left as necessary by simply clicking on the title of the field. You can then choose to use a different field that was pulled in from the MLS, or you can choose to use your own custom field to make an adjustment for example, the condition of the property. Or you can choose to simply leave the field blank to tidy up the page a little bit. When you click OK, you'll get a message saying that changes made to the adjusted CMA will not be reflected in other CMA pages. So click OK. Once you're done setting up your description fields, if you then wanted to use those same fields for all of your price adjusted pages in the future, then you can click Save Fields at the bottom. Then, to make your adjustments, you'll want to type in whole dollar amounts only next to the field that you're making the adjustment for. So if I needed to make an adjustment for the bedrooms, I would type in the dollar amount in the blank text box next to the bedrooms field. No cents, percentages, or non-numerical characters, just the dollar amount. And when you go to the next line, the system will calculate the new adjusted price for the comp at the bottom. The only symbol that you want to use on this page is a minus sign if you're making a deduction instead of adding on to the price. And again, the new adjusted price will be shown at the bottom. Once you're done making all your adjustments, you can click Next. And then we'll come to the recommended price range page. The system will calculate a price range for you based on the average price of all of your sold properties after adjustments, and will take a plus or minus 3% range of that value. However, if you don't agree with the amount the system calculated, you can always adjust the price range to what you feel is correct. When you're done, click Next. And then if you included the pricing strategy page, then that will be the next screen that we come to. This page is an alternative to the previous page and allows you to go into more detail about the price range by having some description here about how you came up with your price range. If you have your own template, you can certainly paste it in here and save it as a default. If you do keep the Toolkit default template, then underneath header 3, suggested price strategy, there is a place for you to manually type in your price range where the dashes are. When you're done, click Next. And then if you included the marketing plan of action page, then this will be the last screen that we come to. This is just a marketing template that allows you to outline to the customer how you plan to market their property from when you first list the property all the way until when it finally sells. So again, if you have your own template, you can always paste it into here and then save it as a default. When you're done customizing, click Next at the bottom. And then we'll be taken to the Create Presentation page. There will be a few summaries of some of the properties that you uploaded. And on the right-hand side, you'll have the Create Presentation button, along with a checkbox on whether or not you'd like to include a tablet presentation. If you were interested in using the interactive tablet version, then make sure to check this box off to include that version as well. Then go ahead and click Create Presentation, and the system will generate the PDF presentation for us. Once it's done creating, it will automatically open up a copy of the PDF and also take us to the summary page in Toolkit. So you can see here is the presentation that we just created. This is the PDF. Of course, if you wanted to print a hard copy, then you could do that right from this screen by clicking on the print icon. And you can also save a hard copy of this PDF to your computer's hard drive by clicking on the save icon. And then you'll have a hard copy for your own records just in case. Since we already went over what the finished product looks like, we don't need to go over this PDF, so we'll close this tab. Back in Toolkit, we'll be prompted to save the presentation in our Toolkit account. So this will save the presentation for 180 days, and you'll be able to come back and make changes to it if needed within your Toolkit account. So it'll ask us to please wait while it's saving and make sure not to interrupt anything while it's saving. So once it's done saving, it would take in back to the summary of the presentation page with the various function buttons across the top. If your browser did not automatically open up the PDF, then you can click View PDF to open that up. Or if you wanted to view the tablet version of the presentation, you can click on the tablet button. There's also a mobile version of the presentation as well, which is even more abbreviated than the tablet, and it's designed to fit on a smartphone screen. After reviewing the presentation, if you like how it looks and you wanted to email it to your client, then you can click on the share button, and you can then compose an email to send to your client. You would just type in their email address in the send to spot at the top. You can then customize the subject and the body of the message. And then at the bottom, there's also checkboxes on whether or not you'd like to include the mobile version and the tablet versions in your email. You can also save your email message as a default if you wanted to use that same email body for all of your future emails. And then you just simply click send email, and Toolkit will send out the email on your behalf. The emails that are sent out through Toolkit will send a link to your client to the presentation, and if the client does click on that link, then you'll be alerted that they've viewed it, so you can keep track of their interest that way. Now, once you've come to this point, if you reviewed your presentation but decided you actually wanted to make some changes, you can actually do so by clicking on the Go To menu again at the top. And again, this will list all of the different screens that you've been to in the building process. And all you have to do is simply click on whichever page you wanted to make changes to. For example, let's say I wanted to change my price range. So I'll click on the Confirm Price Range page. I'll then make my change. Now, after making your change, you'll have to continue to click Next until you get back to the end, and then recreate the presentation in order to generate a new document with your changes. So once that's been completed and you've reviewed it, you then need to also, again, save your presentation in order to save the changes that you made. Now let's say we've left the Toolkit program, but now we've come back at a later time and wanted to make changes. So let's go back to the home screen and see how we would do that. Back on the home screen, we'll see now in the recent Saved section on the left-hand side, our saved presentation will be listed here. So we have a few links to choose from. We can click on PDF, tablet, or mobile to simply view the finished copy of the presentation, whichever format we'd like to view. Or if we wanted to make changes, then we'd click on the Edit button. So let's go ahead and click on that. And then we'll be given a list of all the different pages where we can edit from. So just like before, we'll just click on whichever page we needed to make changes to. We can then make any edits as necessary. And just like before, continue to click Next until you get back to the end. Recreate your presentation in order to populate your changes, and then be sure to again save your presentation to save the changes that you made. So now that we've gone over the main feature, which is the CMA presentations, now I'd like to take a moment to go over one of the other features of Toolkit, and that is the property flyers. So to get started building a flyer from the home screen, we'll click on Create a Property Flyer. And here we'll have a list of available templates or designs to choose from for your flyer. There is a lot of different options to choose from. Some of them are a little more plain than others, and some of them are more involved and colorful, so you have different options for whatever you need. Each template has the template name at the top, followed by an image sample of the template, and then underneath will tell you what is included in that template. Any template that says headline or two headlines will have a customizable headline for you to fill out. And most of the tablets do have a customizable headline, but there are a couple that don't. For example, the Potomac does not let you customize the headline, so it's just something to keep in mind when choosing your template. So once you've selected a template, you can go ahead and click the Create button. We'll then be taken to the Compose Flyer screen, and here you can fill in all of the information for your flyer if you're creating it by hand. However, you can also pull the information from the MLS by clicking the Download a Property button at the top. So then we'll be taken to the Select MLS screen, and we'll pull in the listings from the MLS in the same way that we did for the listing presentation. So again, I'm just going to pull the demo properties, but again, feel free to call in our support department if you ever need assistance with pulling listings from your MLS. So I'll go ahead and load the demo listings. So then normally when you're creating a flyer, you'll only upload a single listing, but since I'm using the demo properties, it loaded multiple listings. So I'll just go ahead and choose one of these properties to create a flyer out of, and then click Next. And so now we'll be taken back to the Compose Flyer screen, but all of the information will be automatically imported from the MLS, along with the photos from the MLS as well. Now, if you did choose a flyer that has a headline, then you'll want to make sure to fill out that field. You can click on the drop-down to use one of our sample headlines, or you can simply type in your own. You can then look over the bullet points and the remarks and make any edits or changes as necessary. Then at the bottom, you can arrange your photos by clicking on the left and right arrows to scroll through the different photos that were pulled in from the MLS. Now the template that I chose only has a single photo, so that's why there's only one box here. But if the template you chose had multiple photos, then you would have multiple boxes here to choose a photo for each slot in your flyer. And you would just use the left and right arrows in each photo slot to choose the photo. Then at the bottom, there's also a section for a QR code. If you wanted to have a QR code on your flyer, you can simply type in a website or text into this field here. And our toolkit will automatically generate the QR code that will link to that website on your flyer. So when you're done, click Create Flyer. Again, the system will automatically open up a PDF of the flyer for us. So we can see here is the flyer that we just created. Again, you can print out a physical copy of the flyer from here, or you can save a hard copy of the flyer to your desktop. Back in Toolkit, we'll be on the flyer summary screen, and again, we'll have the various function buttons similar to the presentation. We can save the flyer. The flyers do not automatically prompt you to save, so make sure to save your flyer so that you'll keep your work. And again, that will save an editable copy of the flyer to your Toolkit account for 180 days. If your browser did not automatically open the flyer, then you can click View Flyer to open that up, or you can view a mobile version of the flyer as well. Then if you'd like to email your flyer, then again, you can click the Email Flyer button and fill out the email section the same as it was for the listing presentation. The flyers, you also have the option to post them to Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest as well. And if you post them onto any of the social media sites, you'll also be alerted if anybody clicks the links that are posted onto those sites. Now, at this point, again, if you needed to make changes to the flyer after creating it, we can use the Go-To menu to jump back to the Compose/Edit Flyer screen. That will take us back to the Compose Flyer screen, where we can then make any of our changes as necessary, then recreate the flyer to populate our changes, and again, save the flyer to save any changes we made. And if we were to leave the program and come back at a later time and we needed to make edits to our flyer, then similar to the presentations, we'll see that our flyer is now listed in the recent saves on the home screen. And we can view the PDF from here, or we can also edit the flyer from here by clicking on the Edit button. And that will again automatically take us right back to the Compose Flyer screen, and we can make any changes as necessary again. One thing I forgot to point out is the recent shares section on the home screen. This section will show a list of any presentations or flyers that you've emailed to clients and whether or not the clients have clicked the link in the email, and that will all be listed in your recent shares. Also, any flyers that you've posted to social media, as well as how many times they've been clicked, will also be posted in this section as well. So now that we've gone over all of the main features of the program, the last thing we can take a look at is the different various settings and preferences in your account. And those can all be accessed by clicking on your name in the upper right corner. So the first option in here is just the plain settings. If we click on this, we'll be able to adjust various minor settings in the program, such as how the system will calculate the recommended price range. Currently, it's set to use only the sold properties and have a plus or minus 3% range. However, you can change it to use all properties instead of just sold. You can also adjust your percentage bounds, as well as how the system will round the values. And then there's also various other settings in here, such as how the system will email. You can choose to use an alternate email when emailing your presentation, as well as how the system will map the comparable properties. The next option down is web reviews. If we click on that, this is where we can link the various testimonial sites to your Toolkit account. So if you have reviews on Zillow, Real Satisfied, Reach 150, Testimonial Tree, Rated Agent, or your Berkshire Hathaway Home Services client testimonials, or Delta reviews, you can link these various sites to your Toolkit account by typing in either your Zillow screen name, Real Satisfied Vanity Key, Reach 150 email, Testimonial Tree user ID, Rated Agent QSC ID, BHHS agent ID, or your Delta agent ID. And once you've linked up the appropriate information, then when you go to create a new presentation, which I'll show you real quick, in the document list, at the very bottom, it'll say select your web reviews pages, and you'll then be able to check off the appropriate page. And Toolkit will automatically pull your most recent reviews from whichever site and create a document out of it. So the next option in your settings is your agent profile. Here you can adjust any of your contact information. This is the information that appears at the bottom of each of the pages. And the next option down is the agent photo. And here you can just upload a new agent photo for your account. And then there's also the options for your agent resume and your agent references. These are templates that Toolkit provides for a resume and references page. So here is the resume template. So if you'd like to use this template, you can simply fill this out from your settings and click Save at the bottom. And the same thing with your references. There's a template that's provided to lay out all of your sellers and your buyers' references. And then click Save at the bottom. And then if you were to go to create a new presentation, we'll then see the My Resume and the My References page, which will contain the information from those templates. The next option down is Saved Presentations and Flyers. And here you can go to delete any presentations or flyers that you've maybe had duplicates or they're old and no longer needed. And then at the very bottom, there's some options for customizing the presentations in your account. The Personal Pages option or feature, this allows you to upload your own custom documents into the presentations. On the left-hand side, you can choose which presentation type you'd like to add the page to. Then on the right, you can give the document a name. This is the name that will appear in the document list in Toolkit. And then the PDF file name you can browse for and choose a PDF document from your computer to upload into the program. Any documents you're adding as a personal page must be in a PDF format. Then at the bottom, you can also choose a page treatment option, and that's whether or not you'd like to include the header and footer or the border for the luxury presentation to add onto your PDF document. So if you have room at the top and bottom or the edges of your document, then you can include the page treatment to make it look consistent with the rest of the pages. However, if you don't have room, you can also just choose to leave the page treatment none. Then click Upload at the bottom. You'll get a message asking you to confirm your page treatment option, so go ahead and click OK. And then you'll get a message in red saying that your document has been uploaded. So now, again, if we were to start a new presentation, now we'll see at the very bottom, here is the new test page that I had just uploaded into the program. It's been added directly into the document list. Now, if you wanted to delete a personal page that you've uploaded, you can go back into the personal pages section, choose the presentation type on the left that the page has been uploaded into. Then on the right, where it says choose the page you would like to replace, you can click on the drop-down menu, choose the page, and then you can either upload a new PDF document to replace the old one, or you can simply click the delete button at the bottom to delete the page entirely. The last option in your settings is the change document order. And here you can go to change or rearrange the order of the documents in any of the presentation types. This includes personal pages that you've uploaded, as well as the default pages as well if you wanted to have them show up in a different order. You'd simply click on the page and then use the up and down buttons to move the page to where you would like it. So this is especially useful if you've uploaded your own personal page. It will default to the very bottom of the list, but you can then use this page to move your personal page to wherever you would like it in the document list. And then you can click Save at the bottom to save your document order.